Hey folks, thanks for checking in today. It's MJ with Breathe, Move, Shine, and people have been asking me to put a little content on my website, send some interesting and general information out about meditation. And so what I would like to first say about that is that the kind of person that I am, which is deeply interested in almost everything around, here I am camping in a beautiful spot in Oregon. And so all this by way of saying that when it comes to meditation, when it comes to cooking, making art, whatever it is I'm doing, I'm really interested in finding out all the different ways to have the experience that I could possibly have. So I like to hybridize and draw wisdom and nuggets from all the different schools of meditation or yoga or cooking or making art into a pile and kind of make it mine. And as a Kripalu student originally, I was really encouraged at the idea of possibly, ultimately study a lot and understand as much as you possibly can, but to make it yours. So that's how I make my yoga, and it's how I make my meditation. So let's get started. First and foremost, we want to make sure that we find ourselves in a place anywhere that we can be fairly uninterrupted, if not completely uninterrupted. It's looking pretty good right here. I've been known to meditate in my car a lot, or in special spaces in my home. Wherever you choose to have your practice, sometimes it's spontaneous, like this is right here this minute. But sometimes you want to make sure that you have a space in your home or in your life somewhere that you can always return to. So it becomes a kind of a sacred, a place that you look forward to getting to. And I will add to that, sometimes the meditation practice might be just as simple as just showing up to the space and sitting. Okay, I've been a little bit interested in Zazen meditation lately, which does not use any support of any sort. I'm not breathing, not focused, it's just sitting. I'm new with this particular style of practice, but it's become part of the mix of mindfulness, meditation, breathing, mantra, loving kindness. I might be living a bunch of them out, but there's basically 5 styles that we generally go to. So I mix them all into this MJ style pile. So we'll get started by finding our place that we'd like to be seated, supported. I have something under me, call it the yoga throne, something under you so that you can have a nice tall spine. Arrange your legs in any way that you wish to, and just find your way to a place where you can find relative ease in your seat. Nice balance of effort and ease. There's effort to support you, but there's an ease in the way that the bones and the muscles are in use. Okay, so we'll do that, and go ahead and once you're there, just let your eyes close. And I like to put it this way: if your breath has eyes, if your breath can see inside of you, as you draw the breath into the nasal passages nice and deeply, and just let that breath, that gaze breath, roam around inside of you. Then as you exhale, the diaphragm presses up to exhale all that breath out. And this is part of just having an assessment of how we're feeling before we get started. And we do this with some sweetness, some ease, a little bit of non-expectation, actually, quite a bit. Okay. So what I noticed as I'm closing my eyes and the breath starts to kind of come in and have an investigation, the way the sits bones are really connecting and anchoring into the seat beneath me. And then awareness is drifting for me into the hips and then down through the legs, and making sure that, the legs might come up with some sensation, but is it manageable? And can I sit here for at least 5 minutes, 3 or 5 minutes, or 10 or 20 or an hour? Can I do that? And then can I send that awareness through the legs back up through the pelvis, up into the spine, and notice the musculature that supports the spine nice and tall. Again, a nice balance of effort and ease there. So not too much, but not this. Okay. All right. So from these anchor points of the sits bones, there's a reach of the crown of the head up towards the sky. And then awareness for me, behind my closed eyes, is going down the neck to my shoulders, and then I'm feeling the weight and heaviness of each arm independently. And then I'm going to let the next breath in the nose draw the shoulder blades just ever so slightly together. Arms will come back a little bit. Arms are still heavy, and there's a nice gathering around the core. And so this is a really beautiful, long-winded way of saying, find your seat. Okay. And then once we've done that, we're into the outermost level kind of who we are, the physical form of who we are. We'll start to drop into the awareness of breath. Most of the time, particularly in meditation, we really need the breath to be traveling in and out of the nose. And as you're seated here, please feel free to let your eyes open to see what I'm up to anytime. Breath is in and out of the nose. The gaze of the breath is still checking around the whole body to see what can soften a bit and what can energize just a little bit. In some forms of meditation, we are not trying to modify the breath at all. So I think for our purposes here, really just to keep it simple, to keep the breath in and out as deeply, easily as possible. And a gentle awareness of the way the ribs expand all the way out, front, side, top, bottom, and in the back. Beautiful. Okay. And so from here, it is sometimes useful to let the eyes open just enough to receive the light of the room or the space that you're in, just a little, about 50% of that. A soft gaze. And then for me, it's helpful to send a gaze to a point in the room or the space that isn't really a thing, it's more of a focal point. And we try to keep the gaze very soft on that point. And in my experience, it becomes a part of the tethering system of where I am in space and time, just enough of a mind use to keep me focused in that way. And now I'm really simply in the business of moving breath, soft gaze, and with a soft gaze on that focal point, that drishti, you can still, in some way, if you wish, to let the gaze of your breath inside of your body, just sending awareness to the things that need slight adjustments. Ultimately, we would like to remain very still, but in all honesty, every now and then you do have to make an adjustment to the physical form, and that's okay. So I'm going to sit with you here for about 2 minutes in quiet. And the only thing I'd like to add to this is keep it real simple, folks. Keep it real simple. And I'll see you on the other side of 2 minutes. So that's just about 2 minutes. Please stay right where you are and stay right in the beautiful state that you found yourself. It's just a mingling of breath and a slight bit of awareness of the space around you and the space in you. And as we sit, well, I'll have us sit quietly for a bit more time. I'm just going to speak to a couple little things while we do so. And for me, I think it's really important to note that, to simplify it, because although there are some really beautiful methods, we just use a gaze, a prop of a gaze, and breathing. So we blended two methods. I've got a hand mudra here, which index finger and thumbs connected, pointed to touching each other. Is in some studies, it's mind and heart space energy hanging out together. And so that's sweet if you like. But also the hands can just be relaxed. Now, the hands, in my view, are satellites in all the time. And so the satellites of your hands, for me, they just organically showed up facing up, which I find really interesting because I'm actually approached our practice time here this morning with a kind of a need to kind of harness and harvest the beauty of this wooded desert, high desert area. So my hands satellited open, I'm kind of receiving this bounteous glory of this place, and that's cool. But also, on some days, my hands are down because I'm so amped up that I need to really get myself grounded. And so I find that hands down on the legs or wherever they happen to end up really helps to settle me. I almost, with my eyes closed, very gently, soft close, it feels like somebody's tenderly reminding me to settle down. So I find that to be really useful. And then there are some days where I have one up and one down. Okay, so this is where creative MJ comes in. And it's just the nature of the way I am. I'm really interested in making the experience most useful for me and for you, absolutely. So in other words, use your imagination and listen to the little messages and cues that you're getting from your heart about how to have this be a really useful time. Almost lastly, I would say, please make sure that in some way you're able to find your way to this kind of a condition. I barely call it meditation. I kind of call it my timeout. So if it's in your car, if it's between tasks, if it's in the morning, if it's in the afternoon, or at the end of the day, if it could somehow be the same time every day, you will get to a point where you're actually going to look forward to it. And here's the really far out part. If I miss it, I notice it. I notice that the day just doesn't sync up the way I would like to. Some days I'm going to sit for an hour. Some days I'm going to sit for 2 minutes. Okay? But I do it every single day, and I love it, and I highly encourage you all to give it a shot. Just give it a shot. You're worth it. And we'll keep talking about this as we move through our visits together. Thanks so much, and have a great day now. Bye.